What is going on, YouTube? This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles, and yes, we are back with another Hot 10 list. This week's Hot 10 features a slew of new books and, of course, a couple of old ones as well. If you are not familiar with this series, what I do is I take the 10 hottest comics on the planet and I go through them one by one, letting you know if I'm a buyer at these prices or if I'm a seller or if I'd just be staying away right here. But before we get started in this week's video, like always, I want you to go ahead and hit that subscriber button for me if you are not a current subscriber of the channel. And of course, I want you to smash that like button if you enjoyed this video. But most of all, I want you guys to comment down below. Let me know what you think of these books on this list. If you own any of these books, would you be buying here at these prices or selling? Let me know down below because I always enjoy chatting with the community. But let's jump right in here at number 10. At this week's Hot 10, at number 10 is a copy of Incredible Hulk number 141, the first appearance of Doc Samson. Now, there is a small rumor out there that we're going to be getting down the road a World War Hulk movie. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. Either way, a CGC 9.4 recently sold last week for $1,500. It was actually up 140% year over year since last October. To me, that seems a little bit excessive. I know this is a high-grade book, but I'm not shelling out $1,500 for a first appearance of Doc Samson. No offense. It just seems like a lot of money to me. If you could find a lower to mid-grade copy that is, fair to under market value, then maybe you want to jump on it and see what happens for a little bit of a spec. But other than that, I'm staying away from this book right here at these prices. At number 9 this week is a copy of Bloodstone number 1. This book was on the list last week, the first appearance of Elsa Bloodstone. I told you guys last week that there's a rumor out there that she's going to be in the future Blade movie. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. There is a character that supposedly that has been named Ruby. I'm not sure if that's going to be her or whatever the actual rumor is. Either way, a CGC 9.6 recently sold last week for $395, up 22% since September of this year. To me, yes, I am a buyer of this book. I think that we're not only going to get one, not two, but actually 3 Blade movies going forward in the future in the MCU. I do think that she will show up at some point. And I think this is a good spec considering it is still cheap. It is still not that expensive. Like I said, you're at a 9.6 for $395. That's not actually that bad. I'd probably jump on this book before it actually goes any higher, guys. At number 8 this week is a book that was been soaring up the charts last week. Fantastic Four number 67, the first appearance of the Cocoon and later to be known as him. Now, a CGC 8.0 recently sold last week for $1,099. It was actually up 10% since August of this year. This book seems to be climbing. Like I said on last week's video, if you have not picked up a copy of the first appearance of him, the first appearance of Adam Warlock, and of course the first appearance of him out of the Cocoon, you guys have definitely missed out on that boat. It's been a couple of years since we've seen the actual Cocoon in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now that we know he is coming, this book is actually skyrocketed. I'm definitely still a buyer, but I'm not just going to jump on any grade at any price at this point. I'm just kind of wait and see where it can that my grade can fit in my collection for a good deal. But yes, I'm definitely a buyer of this one. At number 7 this week is a copy of Showcase number 37, the first team appearance of the Metal Men. Yes, there is a Metal Men movie I'm hearing that's going to be in development. And this is just a weird, funky book. They actually have some really cool characters in the story. I personally have not read it. Either way, I am a buyer of this book. I think it's a cool looking book. I've read some what this series is about. I'm very intrigued about this. I'm actually hoping I can pick up a copy relatively soon. Either way, the CGC 6.0 recently sold last week for $763, up 13% since 2016. Now, being this book is a DC book and DC keys really haven't seen the growth that these Marvel keys or even these independent keys have gone over the past couple of years, I am still a buyer and a believer in some of these DC books. And to me, after reading about this book and seeing the crazy type of characters that are introduced in this series, I think this book really has a chance to go a lot higher. So yes, I'm a buyer, like I said before. However, it doesn't really have to be in a high grade. If I could find, a 3 to 4.0, I'm okay with that for me. For the higher grade buyers out there, just beware. Try to find it under market value if you can. But yes, I am definitely a buyer. At number 6 this week is a copy of Iron Man 55, the first appearance of Thanos, the first appearance of Drax, and moreover, the first appearance of Star Fox. Now, I don't want to throw out any spoilers here, so if you guys haven't seen the Eternals movie, obviously you haven't, it's not out yet, but if you haven't heard the rumors, Star Fox, which is the brother of Thanos, seems to be getting his own post-credit scene. That's what I heard. That's what the rumor is. I'm not 100% sure on that, but either way, this book is starting to go. A CGC 4.5 recently sold last week for $696, up 5% since July. I'm a little shocked to see this book starting to creep up again. We saw Thanos introduced, over 10 years ago in the MCU. Now all of a sudden, this book's starting to go just because of Star Fox. I'm kind of not buying it. It's a book I definitely have owned in the past. I would like to own again, but I'm not going to pay up for it as this book is going higher and higher. Again, if you want to own the first appearance of these three characters, I'm all for it. I'm just not paying up for it at these prices. I'm trying to find a deal if I'm going to buy it. At number 5 this week is a copy of Marvel Premiere number 1, the first time we hear the name Adam Warlock. Of course, him being renamed Adam Warlock, and this book has been flying up the charts. CGC 8.0 recently sold last week for $859, and that's up 33% since June of this year. So you're already up 30% on your money if you bought it just over 6 months ago, under 6 months ago, I should say. Like I said, we were harping on this book a couple of years back, and I'm surprised many of you haven't picked it up. All three of these books, like I've mentioned in the past, Marvel Premiere 1, Fantastic Four 67, and Thor 165 are all a buy, in my opinion. And we've talked about Fantastic Four 66 as well, the origin of him. I'm always a buyer if we can get that book at a decent price, but I'm a buyer of all three if we can get them under market value because they are skyrocketing. And like I just said, at number 4 this week is a copy of Thor 165, the first appearance of him out of the cocoon. I always talk about in this character in threes. I mentioned in the 3 books. I always say that this Thor 165 is the money book. This is the book I'd be picking up if I was you guys, if I wanted to get into the Adam Warlock spec. Now, CGC 3.0 recently sold this week for $510, up 126% since March of this year. Yes, this book is starting to go. I actually have a copy for sale because I have multiple copies. I have a 3.5 that I'm selling actually for under $500. So to me, if anybody's looking for a copy, hit me up on YouTube. My contact information is out there. Always drop me an email if you're interested, or go to my Instagram. It is Lawrence_the_MCG. I'm always looking to help fellow collectors out that are looking for books that I'm trying to sell. Either way, this book is definitely a pickup, guys. If you do not own a copy, you do not know. I don't think Adam Warlock's going to be a one and done in the MCU. We are definitely going to see him down the road in multiple movies, I believe. At number 3 this week is a copy of XMen number 5, the third appearance of Magneto, the second appearance of the Scarlet Witch, and the second appearance of Quicksilver. To me, this is an odd book to be showing up on the list at this point. I'm not sure why all of a sudden it's spiking. Maybe because the first appearances are kind of out of reach. We always talk about that here on the channel. I am currently not a second appearance buyer on most books. If I can get them for cheap, I always say I can do it. Either way, a CGC 2.5, which is a relatively low-grade book, recently sold last week for $420, up 68% since February of this year. Now, this is a nice Silver Age key to have. I'm not lying to you guys, but I'm probably not shelling out $400 for a second appearance. It's just not my style, not how I collect. However, like I said, X-Men 1, the first Magneto, is crazy, insane priced, and of course, the first Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver is also a very expensive book. Now, that book took off right after the WandaVision series aired. So if you didn't jump on it then, it's probably a little out of reach for a lot of people out there right now. This is a nice alternative to have, and I would really like it in my collection, but I'm probably not shelling out that kind of money for a second appearance on a book. That's just me, guys. At number 2 this week is a copy of Peacemaker number 1, the third appearance of the Peacemaker and the first in his own title. Now, to me, we all know John Cena is going to take on the role of Peacemaker in his own Netflix movie. I think he looks great as a character. I don't know much about the character himself. I will say this, John Cena has proven that to me he's a pretty decent actor, and especially a good character actor. I'm interested to see where this book goes and where they take the character in this new Netflix show. So I will say this, I wasn't a fan of the character because I knew nothing of him before this. However, after doing some research, I'm starting to see, you know what, this might be something that I want to get into. Either way, CGC 5.5 recently sold this week for $450, up 43% since May of this year. I gotta be honest with you guys, this is not a bad book to own. I'm definitely thinking of picking it up. It is quite expensive here because it is not a first appearance. It is the third appearance of the Peacemaker. For $450, I'm probably not going to shell it out, even though this is a cool looking book. I want to see if I could try to pick up the first appearance. I gotta look and do some research and see where that first appearance is, see how much that book's going for. But either way, this is a nice alternative to have, and I would be a buyer if I can get it for a good price, but if not, I want to try to seek out the first appearance. All right, guys? Rounding out the number 1 spot this week is a copy of Shazam number 28, the second appearance of Black Adam. Now, this book was on the list last week, and I told you guys I wasn't a buyer because I just don't see the hype. Even though The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, everything that he's in seems to be, turned into gold at the box office, and I do think he's going to do this character justice. But again, like I said before, I'm not really a second appearance buyer. I did own this book at some point previously. I think it was a 9.2 copy. But this book is really starting to go now. CGC 9.0 recently sold last week for $1,000, up 38% since April of this year. And that is quite a jump for this character. We did see the teaser with The Rock in it. I do believe, like I said, he will do this character justice. And the first appearance of Shazam is really, really, really expensive. It is a Golden Age book. I believe it's Marvel Family number 1. So we get the first appearance of Black Adam there. Probably unattainable to a lot of the collectors out there. Me, not a book I'm really searching for. But like I said, if you're willing to shell out $1,000 for this book, go for it. It's just not something that I'm looking on. To me, to have a DC book, even though it is a high-grade book, I'm not going to shell out $1,000 for it. That's just not how I'm collecting right now. And to me, while the first Shazam movie was a decent movie, I'm not really looking forward to the Black Adam movie. I'm sure it'll do well at the box office, but I'm not looking really forward to see them kind of clash in the movies. It's just wasn't my thing. But like I said, if it's yours, that's cool. Pick it up. Let me know the grades you get them at. Let me know what you pay for the book, because I'm always interested in that stuff, guys. That's it for the Hot 10 list. You guys let me know in the comments, what do you think of this list? Do you own any of these books? Do you want to own any of these books? Do you want to get rid of some of these books? Drop me comments down below. I always want to hear what you guys think. So again, this is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles saying thank you for watching. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and I'll talk to you guys soon.